My pen, my precious. As with any pen kit, you need to start with the brass tube, and I like to use calipers to actually measure the brass tube and the bit and make sure that they will fit precisely. And I have a block that's about 3/4 by 3/4 by a little longer than the brass tube, and I need to put a hole all the way through it so that I can then insert the brass tube. Now, a little bit of super glue will hold the brass tube in nicely, but if the hole is nice and tight, that may not even be needed. I'll put the head of the pen into the hole and actually mark out what the final size needs to be. But in this case, I actually want to make it a hexagon. So I put a bolt that fits perfectly into the hole and then use the head to draw out the final shape. I'll put that shape on both ends of the post so that I can slowly plane down to those marks. I'll put it in the vise with one side of the hexagon facing up, flat with the bench, and then use a plane to slowly bring it down to a dimension. And I'm just watching the ends on both ends to make sure that the plane doesn't go past the line. With a little bit of work, it can slowly be brought down to a hexagonal tube. And then the real fun can begin. I need to round over the ends ever so slightly to make it match up with the head and tail of the pen. And I can do that by just sliding it along a file and slowly lifting the back end so that it rounds over ever slightly. The next thing I want to do is actually do a little bit of carving in this, and I want to draw some lines at a 45-degree, kind of spiraling up the pattern. So I'm just using this combination square to draw lines and slowly work my way around it. Drew several lines in all the way around it, going in both directions. Then with a small file, I just nick along that line, not going all the way down to the brass tube, but it just provides a small groove in the actual surface. Makes a nice little extra thing that can be added onto a pen that you just could never do on a plane. After that, I want to smooth out the surface, and I like using a file as it leaves the surface a little bit better than sandpaper, but still giving you a very crisp corner. After the file, I put it on a bolt so that I can put on some shellac. I put on 6 coats of shellac, and I sand in between second and third coat. And just before the last coat, I put like a 400 grit sandpaper on it. Make it really nice and shiny, and it goes together fairly well. Last, just use the vise to press it together. Make sure that all the pieces fit in very well. And that's about it. A pen is a very simple project and great to give away, and fantastic to have for yourself. So I made a few other pins very similar to this for Christmas gifts. Now I was intending on keeping one for myself, but I ended up giving them all away, and I finally needed my own pin that I can have and use. And so I wanted to do something a little different, so I tried to do this little crisscross pattern on top of here, and I really like how it came out. It is simple and rather beautiful. I kind of like it. So this is actually my entry into Bill of Olsey's One Car Workshop No Lathe Pen Challenge. So I've made quite a few pins without a lathe. I actually have a couple other videos in the cards where you can see pins that were made without a lathe. It's a very simple process to do, and there are many different ways of doing it, but this is just one. I saw this pin kit at Woodcraft, and I had to have it. So that is another pin. I hope you like this. I have another simple project, and it was a fun one for me. If you did like the video, please hit like and think about subscribing. I want to say an incredible thank you to the patrons on Patreon. You guys are the reason this channel is here. If you'd like to find out more about that, you can click the link over here. Also, feel free to check out one of my other videos. You might find something you like there. And until next time, have a wonderful day.